For this discussion, I'm focusing on my adult learners in the technology course that I teach. Obviously, with this in mind, I found the Shift article on the four elements to effective learning to be the most interesting and the most relevant. The other articles talked about brain development and maturity. One of the things that they talked about was how the brain is finished maturing at around age 25. But this obviously doesn't mean that people over 25 can't learn. It just means that that's when the brain is sort of fully formed. So this does mean that it takes different approaches to make learning effective for adult learners. And this is what the Shift article focused on. And the big takeaways that I got from that article were that adults, more so than children and adolescents, do better when they can build on something that they already know. In other words, it's harder for them to just jump into new material and run with it. They're better if they can sort of place the foundation in something that they already know and then start to build on that. For the curriculum that I'm teaching, this unfortunately can be the expectations for some of my students who have very limited computer experience. Sort of throwing them in and expecting them to just sort of go with something that they have not much knowledge on. This is becoming less the norm as technology is more widespread, but it is still the case sometimes. So this is why I tend to try to start with the basics for them, so that they start to feel a little more comfortable with what they're about to learn. The other point that stood out to me was the idea that multitasking is a myth, that the brain can only really function or focus on one thing at a time, but that we switch between multiple things very quickly, so it gives us sort of the impression that we are in fact multitasking, and that the older we get, that switching makes the things that we're doing less efficient or less effective. So I think for me, in my adult learner class, this would mean creating an atmosphere that has less distractions for learners, and also creating lessons that tend to focus more on specific topics rather than asking them to jump from topic to topic in short periods.